Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Kelly Sparks, aka Redbeard. So, another little fun thing that I just realized, if you want to try to warm your whiskeys up, honestly, the easiest way to do it, get one of these airplane fifths and just hold it in your hand for a little while, or stick it in your pocket, walk around with it. It'll warm it up. The purpose of warming up the whiskey prior to tasting it, obviously to expand the molecules. Science class, everybody. Expand the molecules so more of the flavors will be coming out. So, like with anything, if you ever paid attention in science, when you chill something or cool it down, the molecules tighten. I mean, this is in everything. When you warm it up, they expand. So it's like the difference between iced coffee and boiling hot, or not boiling hot, but hot coffee straight out of the percolator. On each end of the spectrum, you're going to taste coffee, but it's going to either be too hot to register all of the flavors, or just way too cold and it's going to be just sharp and punchy. Somewhere in the middle, warm-ish coffee, you'll be able to taste it. So, and also, before you pour your whiskey into your glass, if your glass is dirty, obviously wash your glass, but run some hot water over it, warm the glass up itself, and then pour your whiskey in it. It's a tiny little cat. Hard to hold on to. So, get a little taste. Oh, Bonnie. Oh, Bonnie. No. So this is Woodford Reserve. This is just the straight Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, 45.2% alcohol. All right, so I'm going to walk everybody through the steps again. So, depending on what method you subscribe to, some will have you nose it first, some will have you get your nose all the way in it, some will have you waft it below your face to get the aromas. Some do not have you nose it first, like the Whiskey Addict. They tell you not to nose it, and I kind of see their point, especially if the alcohol is way too high. If the proof is way too high, it's just going to burn your senses up, burn your nostrils up, and as we all know, a lot of the aromas and tastes and flavors we get comes from our sinuses and the smell as well. So we've all had sinus infections. If you've had a sinus infection and you can't breathe, you can't taste nothing. I mean, that's how I quit dipping. Put a dip of snuff in my mouth, tasted like shit. I was like, I'm done with that. So that was the easiest way for me to quit dipping. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to walk you guys through it for a second, and you can swirl it if you want. They say that opens the flavors up and activates the aromas. It might be all bullshit. I don't know. I am not a scientist. I'm kind of a scientist. I like to experiment. So with that said, I want everybody to take their glasses, take a small sip, all right? As you're going through this, you're going to think about everything going on in your mouth. About 5 to 10 seconds. Take a small swallow, all right? Let it sit a little bit longer. Wash it from side to side. Don't swish it. I'm not a fan of the Kentucky swish. You know, they put it in their mouth and then swish it around like Listerine or whatever. So now you'll take your second sip. Your saliva's building up. It's cutting the whiskey down. And then on your third sip, finish it off, and then start to reflect on what you got. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do that. For me, first thing I noticed that it was a lot sharper and to the point than the first two. It didn't feel like it flowed as much, but I noticed that there was a lot more. It was almost like maple syrup. That's the word that's popping into my mind. There was a lot more woody notes, more barrel notes, and then like this maple syrup, and it kind of had a syrupy feel, but mixed in with like a little bit of perfume that was just sharp and pointy. All in all, it's not bad. Woodford Reserve used to be a go-to of mine when I'd go to restaurants. Most restaurants in East Texas, they do not have a great bourbon selection, and they're starting to get better. Some are bringing in some stuff. We got a new restaurant downtown, Judd's downtown. If you're in Longview, go check them out. They've got an excellent bourbon and whiskey selection. But normally, when you go to a restaurant, you'll see, at minimum, Knob Creek, Maker's Mark, Woodford Reserve, and probably Wild Turkey 101. So when I'd go to a restaurant, if I didn't see Knob Creek or Maker's Mark, I would usually drink Woodford, and it'd always be on the rocks. So anyway, that's whenever I was just drinking on the rocks all the time. Let's get one more sip. Go through your steps. Pause it if you want. We'll figure out if there's anything else in there, and go from there. Cheers. Woodford definitely has more, compared to the first two, compared to Jim Beam Black and Weller, has more of the woody characteristics from the barrel. So it might be aged a little bit longer. I don't know. Jim Beam Black used to be aged 8 years, but now it's somewhere between 6 and 8. Woodford might have a different process. They might pull barrels from the top and outside of the warehouses, so it has more impact. The whiskey has more impact with the wood because there's more heat difference. The heat difference is more extreme. So definitely a lot more wood notes. Little bit of sharpness on it, so you might notice that. Let me know what you think in the comments. I mean, all in all, it's still, in my opinion, these are entry-level bourbons. Anybody can access, most anybody, except for the Weller. Depending on your region, it's going to be allocated, and I hate that because it's stupid. Because it's not, it shouldn't be an allocated whiskey. But people have engineered a scarcity and hype around it. Anyway, so Woodford has a bit of sharpness, has more sharpness than the Beam and the Weller. There's more wood notes, and there's this weird little maple syrup. Other than that, I didn't get a whole lot else from it. Let me know what you guys got from it. I mean, this is just my palate, so it's my totally, I can't think of the word, totally based on my palate. So let me know what you guys got. If you got anything different, comment below. So thanks for watching. This is Bourbon for Beginners, part 3. Don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share it with your friends. Check the description below for all the ways to help out with the bills around the house. Go order a t-shirt from me. Just saw a new friend sent me a picture of his new t-shirt, so thanks John. Check out the Bearded Idiots. Like always, drink some whiskey, share it with your friends and family, be safe, don't drink and drive, take care, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.